Clara, how was your day?
Fine. Daniel, I need to talk to you. I feel like I'm losing myself in all this. I thought I wanted all this, but I don't. I don't know who I am anymore. I'm not the same person who baked bread at the village bakery.
Once upon a time, in a small quiet village, lived a girl named Clara. Clara was sweet, hardworking, and had dreams of a better life. She spent her days working at the local bakery, helping her mother and secretly hoping for something more exciting to happen. She never expected her life to change in the way it did. One sunny afternoon, while she was delivering some bread to the market, Clara met a man named Daniel. He was tall, with sharp features and dark eyes that seemed to carry secrets. Daniel didn't look like anyone Clara had ever met. He wasn't from the village and was always alone, wandering around with no clear purpose. But something about him made Clara feel comfortable. They began talking, and before long, Clara found herself spending more and more time with him. He was kind, patient, and seemed genuinely interested in her. He would bring her flowers, offer to help with the heavy sacks of flour at the bakery, and even buy her little trinkets. Daniel seemed perfect. She was falling for him, but there was one thing Clara didn't know. Daniel wasn't just a wanderer or a simple man. Clara found out she was pregnant 2 months after she and Daniel had become close. She was excited but also scared. She had no idea how to tell her mother, and she worried about what people in the village would think. Most of all, she wondered if Daniel would stand by her. When she finally told him the news, Daniel was overjoyed. He promised to be there for her, and they made plans to get married. Clara didn't know what to expect, but she knew that he would support her. The villagers, however, had a different opinion. They began whispering behind Clara's back, gossiping that she was marrying a man who didn't even have a job. Some even said that she was desperate, settling for anyone who would take her. She is marrying a nobody, they said. He's probably poor and won't be able to provide for her. Clara tried to ignore the gossip, focusing instead on her growing belly and the life she was building with Daniel. The wedding was simple, just a few friends, her mother and some neighbors. Daniel, of course, was the most handsome man in the room, and Clara felt proud to be with him, despite what the village thought. But the day after their wedding, things began to change. Daniel suddenly stopped coming to the bakery. He was always busy with mysterious meetings and strange phone calls. He started dressing in expensive clothes, and one day he drove up in a brand new shiny car, something that looked like it cost more than all the bread she'd ever baked combined. Clara didn't understand what was happening. Daniel had never acted like this before. She tried to ask him about it, but he always brushed it off, saying he was just handling some business. Clara felt confused. She loved him, but she didn't know who he was anymore. A week later, the truth came out. The village was buzzing with excitement. It turned out that Daniel wasn't just a poor wanderer. He was actually the heir to a massive fortune. His family owned a chain of luxury hotels, private islands, and even a fleet of yachts. Daniel had chosen to live in a simple life away from the money, traveling and learning about the world. But now, with Clara and their baby on the way, he felt it was time to step into his role as the head of the family business. When Clara found out, she was shocked. She couldn't believe it. All the while, the villagers had been mocking her for marrying a nobody, and now, suddenly, she was married to one of the most wealthiest men in the country. The tables had turned, and Clara felt humiliated. The same people who had whispered behind her back were now treating her like royalty. At first, Clara didn't know how to handle the sudden change. She wasn't used to this new life, going to fancy parties, wearing designer clothes, and having servants. She missed the simple days when life had been predictable. The village that had once mocked her now praised her. But Clara didn't feel happy. She felt like she was living in a world that wasn't her own. As time went on, the pressure mounted. The villagers expected her to act a certain way, to be perfect, to look perfect, and to always be happy. But Clara felt like she was losing herself in this world of wealth and status. Daniel, though kind, was always busy with work. He seemed more like a distant figure, a man who had promised her the world but was never around to help her navigate it. One day, when Clara was alone in their grand home, holding their newborn baby, she received a call from an old friend from the village. "Clara, are you happy?" the friend asked. Clara paused. She didn't know how to answer. She had everything she had once dreamed of: money, luxury, and a beautiful family, but something was missing. She felt trapped in a life that wasn't truly hers. As she looked out the window of her mansion, Clara realized something important. Wealth and status couldn't fill the emptiness she felt inside. She didn't want to be the perfect wife, the perfect mother, or the perfect rich girl. She wanted to be Clara, the simple, hardworking girl who had baked bread in the village, who had dreamed of a better life, but who had never imagined that the price of that life would be her happiness. And so, Clara made a decision. She would talk to Daniel, tell him how she felt, and figure out a way to live a life that was truly her own, not one dictated by money, appearances, or the expectations of others. As she sat down to write him a letter, she realized that the true tragedy of her life wasn't the fortune she had gained or the way the villagers had treated her. It was the fact that she had lost herself in the process of trying to gain everything else. Clara knew she would have to find a way to balance the love she had for Daniel and the life she wanted for herself. But the road to happiness, she realized, was not about money or the approval of others. It was about being true to who she was. It was about being true to who she was, no matter what. Clara sat in the grand living room, the letter to Daniel in her hands, but she couldn't bring herself to send it. The words felt heavy, as though they carried the weight of her entire life. The life she once knew, the simple, honest life, seemed so far away now. The world of luxury and expectation was all-consuming, but it also felt like a cage. She glanced at her baby, peacefully asleep in a cradle beside her. The child was the one thing that grounded her, the one constant she could hold on to. She wanted her baby to grow up feeling loved and valued for who they were, not for what they owned. But how could she teach that in a house full of gold and mirrors? That evening, Daniel came home later than usual. He had a stack of papers in his hand and an exhausted look on his face. Clara could tell he hadn't even noticed how the house had changed since they first moved in. It was becoming more and more a symbol of everything she had once dreamed of, and now everything she felt trapped by it.
Clara, how was your day?
Fine. Daniel, I need to talk to you. I feel like I'm losing myself in all this. I thought I wanted all this, but I don't. I don't know who I am anymore. I'm not the same person who baked bread at the village bakery. I miss that simple life. I miss just being me.
What do you mean, Clara? You have everything you ever wanted, don't you? Clara, I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much this life would change you. I thought I was doing what was best for us. I thought I was giving you everything you deserve.
But I never asked for any of this. I just wanted love. I just wanted a partner. And now I feel like I'm just living in this perfect world that's not mine. I don't want the parties, the clothes, or the constant expectations. I just want to be me again. I don't want to be a trophy wife, Daniel. I don't want people to look at me.
I get it now. You're right. I've been so caught up in the business, in the money, in this new life I thought would make us happy. But it wasn't just about you and me, was it? It was about keeping up appearances, living up to what I thought we should be.
And think I'm just here because of your wealth. I want people to see us for who we are, not for what we have. And I want to teach our baby that too.
Clara, I love you. I've loved you from the moment we met. And I was too blind to see how this affected you. If it means that much to you, I'll make changes. We can scale down. We can move somewhere quiet, somewhere you feel comfortable. I don't care about the money if it means we can be happy together. Yes, Clara, I love you, and I want to make it right.
You mean it?